Well, good morning, Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker, and today is the 31st of March, 2025 at approximately 10:40 in the morning, and got home yesterday. You can see I'm in my master bathroom here. We're going to do a straight razor shave. I'll introduce the equipment here in just a minute. I got home yesterday at about 12 noon-ish. Got up, I spent the night before last coming back from my vernal Utah run in Denton, Texas. I was eligible to start rolling at 4:30 a.m., which I started rolling at 4:45 a.m. and got to the yard at approximately 10:30. Fully fueled, ready to go on the next run. My boss had told me that I'd be getting ready today. Loading tomorrow for an Iowa load. I haven't gotten the paperwork yet. I haven't gotten the details yet. And I will say on the side note, I'm none too happy that he's rushing me out the door. My 34-hour restart does not cycle until about 10:30 tonight, 22:30 tonight. And to put me back out to go get loaded, I don't know what time I'm loading, but 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever it is, it's my opinion, always been my opinion, that a driver should not be assigned to a new load for 24 hours after the completion of his 34-hour restart. That gives him ample home time. Imagine getting off work on a Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. And you've got to report on Sunday at 5 a.m. To go back to work for another 70-hour work week. And I've said to my fellow driving buddies for a long time, the 70-hour rule on interstate over-the-road drivers with the 34-hour restart rule is the closest thing we have to slavery in the United States today. Truck drivers are slaves. And I'm getting real pissed about the way some companies treat their drivers. The hours of service regulations are nothing more than regulations. I don't believe, unless you want to go back to the days of the robber barons in the 1920s and 30s when a lot of this stuff came up for trucking and transportation, that drivers ought to be treated that way. I thought we broke the labor, those kinds of rules and regulations that turn human stock into slaves. And I mean that literally. 14th Amendment, yippee yahoo. Slavery is still practiced in the world today. And the closest thing I believe that we have to it in the United States, other than that which is obviously illegal, child trafficking, the sweatshops, etc. So much of that is just illegal. But what is legal in the United States that makes us the closest to slavery today is a 34-hour reset in truck driving, because too many companies treat the hours of service regulations as a work schedule rather than just simply regulations. Those are the regulations. Okay, if you're going to drive, here's what you can and cannot do. And companies should say, well, we want the driver to have... How many times have you heard companies say, we want our employees to have a life? Have a life, raise their family, go to their children's recitals and plays and blah, 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 and it's not, it's from when I get off of work, 34-hour restart starts. And so if I had to go, and I do, in order, it's not by compulsion, but in order to get the job done right, let's say my load time was at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and my restart didn't end until 10:30 tonight. And so I've got to go down to the yard this afternoon. I've got to, and there's a way to move the truck less than 3 miles an hour that you can move from point A to point B within 2 miles, I think it is. Just creepy crawly at less than, approximately 3 miles an hour. And it might even be 5 miles an hour. But I can go from one end of our yard to the other end of our yard at 3 miles an hour and not break that speed barrier where it automatically trips the service clock, the computer clock that I'm driving. And so I can move, I can hook up to you're not supposed to do all this because it's considered on-duty work. But still lots of drivers do it in order to save time and not have to do it at 2 a.m., but rather 5 in the previous afternoon. So you go down to the truck, you get all your pre-trip stuff done, you hook up to your trailer, you're ready to go, you go to bed. Maybe you go to bed at 1800, 6 p.m. Maybe you go to bed at 8 p.m. To get a decent night's sleep, depending upon what time you've got to get up in the morning, and you're ready to go get loaded. And anyway, like I say, it's annoying. And then to say, hey, I've got to go to the doctor. I've had an emergency this last week in Oklahoma City where I had a kidney stone. And I'm having to take constant pain medication so as not to have to go back to the emergency room. So how about letting me go to a urologist get that taken care of. If they're going to blast it with ultrasound or whatever it is they're going to do. Hey, I got to go to the doctor. Yeah, okay. Just let me know when your appointment is. Well, how about giving me some time that I can set the appointment? So I'm not happy right now about how people can behave like monsters in today's world. Now, am I in pain right now? No. I have had since Wednesday morning at midnight morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning at midnight in the hospital till 5 a.m., got up at 7:30 a.m. when I got a couple hours sleep, drove 660 miles to stay on schedule for on-time delivery in Utah. I have had 2 Advil, every 8 hours, 6 tablets a day every 24 hours since Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I've already started this morning. So 6 days times 6 pills, that's 36 pills. Now, I don't know what all that does to your body. My doctor has always said, don't take too many Tylenol, don't take too many ibuprofen on an extended time. Well, how much is an extended time? And I know people that live off that stuff, and what damage they're doing to their liver, I don't know. Anyway, that said, this is the hardest in truck driving that I have ever had to work. And it's because the rules, the hours of service regulations is being treated as a work schedule, and nobody's taking consideration for, the 13 years that I had with the former company was there was always a full 48 hours off between loads before they even assigned you to the next load. So, I'm a little annoyed. Tonight's one night in my own bed. And I know what my boss would say. He would say, well, that's your choice to come down to the truck the night before and get things ready. That's your choice. You could come down to the truck. And the old company used to give us a minimum of 24 hours from assignment to load time, 24 hours, which I think is a suitable rule. I'm still waiting on the details for the assignment. I know I've got a load only because he says so, but I've not gotten a copy of the paperwork and all that. Anyway, I'll stop bickering on that, but I'm too... what was it Danny Glover said in those Mel Gibson movies? I'm too old for this, something. All right. I'll stop there. Now, I want to address something Greg Gallant said in a recent video. It may have been his last video or one or two past, about, he said that he was able to pick up a union razor for $12 off of eBay. And I just want to say, if he paid $12 for a used union razor off of eBay, he got ripped off. Because you can get a brand new one from the Union Razor Company or in the truck stops, and I don't know about elsewhere, for approximately $12, $12.99. Now, with that said, let me just this is a 7-day roll-up made out of denim that my wife made me, and you can see I've got those first 6 razors that you see sticking up there. Well, let me just start with the first 2, the 2 black and the 2 ivory white colored. Those are union razors. Now I'm going to show them to you here in a minute. The third set are gold dollars, and I got some other gold dollars in there I'm going to show you as well. But the upshot of what I want to say to my good friend, I did a little checking on the knower of all information, the internet, that there did in fact used to be a razor company called the Union Razor Company. That's about all I can say. And they apparently were I think it's American steel, and they were a vintage style company, long out of business, I suppose. Now, these gold dollar, or pardon me. Well, I'm glad I looked at that. These union razors are a recent newcomer to the straight razor world. I'd say they're, I don't know what, 2, 4, 5 years, and they've not been long on the market. Now, notice some things right off the bat. Plastic handle, not acrylic, not anything special at all, just cheap, probably 2 cents to make plastic. And the quality is Chinese steel, is a little on the thickish side, as you would expect from Chinese steel. And as you're looking at this, I want you to think in terms of gold dollar. These are a gold dollar knockoff. Another characteristic of the Union razor is that they are shoulderless, or we'll just call it shoulderless. This style of shoulders, not a full shoulder. And they come in black. I'm going to set this one aside. I got 2 of them, just like this. Got 2 of them. And they also come in white, just like that. Shoulderless plastic, kind of a heavy, clumsy steel. I'm not going to go over all the details as far as, are they symmetrical and all that stuff, but they pretend to be a full hollow, whatever. And these, just like the gold dollar, are excellent learning tools. For $12, get yourself a few of them. If you're new to straight razor shaving, and just start grinding. Don't worry about ruining it, because it's nothing special, and you can pick them up. And in some places, a gold, I think I've heard my friend Bill M say that you can pick up a box of gold dollars, the 208s, for like $2 each, if you buy them in a bulk. Now, I'm going to show you a couple more of moving over to the gold dollars. Now you'll see Now, many of you will recognize this typical plastic, checkered plastic handle that Gold Dollar used. You can see some etching on the face of the blade. It says Gold Dollar. Some of them come painted black, white, red, blue, bluish green, etc. You'll see here some etching that says GD 208, Gold Dollar 208. You'll notice the style of the shoulder over here. So there is just a little bit of the shoulder. And this is where some people say that they are wildly out of symmetrical sync, that they have terrible shoulders. And indeed, if you look closely, when you run a blade on a stone, the blade should be able to pass over the stone flat without hitting the shoulder as you move it toward the toe. And this does, you can even feel it on the palm here, that you can tell that the heel sticks down a little further than the flush of the razor, and that's bad. That's a bad thing. You want it to be flush as you move it along that direction. But a little bit of a shoulder, again, the clumsy, heavy Chinese style steel, and this is very typical, now I hone these up, even with the bad shoulder, the bad heel. I just do them at an extreme angle and just kind of bypass the shoulder and the heel. Now this one is a generic. Nowhere on it does it say Gold Dollar. I ordered it as a Gold Dollar off the internet. These are not the original scales because the others just fell off as soon as I took them out of the box. I say box, out of the wrapper when I got it. So I sent this off for like a $10. There's that company in Palm Springs. They're still in business, but anyway. And so now here's again, same style with the same kind of shoulder, but this is it'll say 66 and it says China. Let me see if I can get up on it. And 66. So this is, and you see the nice paint job. You see a little something here. This is a typical Gold Dollar stainless steel. Model 66 is allegedly their stainless steel model. All right. Now, what's this? Now, here's another. It's kind of got a greenish plastic handle on it, kind of a blue paint job on it. 100. Now, I don't know what the 100 model is. If it's carbon steel, stainless steel, don't know any of that. But again, it's same basic design, same styled shoulder, clumsy like China steel. And, these are, somebody's trying to make a buck. Somebody's making these in China, selling them in the American market, trying to capture the imagination of the straight razor market and hoping people will pay 10, 15, 20, and I've seen them even more. Now, some people say, and it's all right, it doesn't matter, that they're no good, they won't hold an edge, blah, blah, blah. I've seen other people say, yes, they will hold as good an edge as any razor. All of my edges are fine. I will say all of these that you see here, I've retired them. I don't use them no more. I don't need to practice honing as you would think a beginner might need to practice honing. But these are excellent for that very purpose. So these are all retired. I set them aside and they just stay in the roll-up. A couple of more, and I've got one in particular that I want to show you. This is a kind of a unique oddity. This was a special that came out. What's it say on it? Gold Dollar Shave Club 2017. And so this came out. I started straight razor shaving mid 2015. This came out. I snatched it up. And I've never been able to get this to shave right on the face. I've tried, I've honed the honing guide on the spine. I don't know if you can see it. It's not overly worn. Yeah, there you can see it better. It's not overly worn, but it is some worn because I kept grinding and kept grinding and kept grinding. I will say that this shaves nicely on the head. I can use this as a head shaver and not be disappointed in my head shave. Now I'm going to set that aside, but I don't use these anymore. Somebody's trying to capture off of the Wade and Butcher, old Sheffield market of the barber's notch and smile. Here's the one I think. This came out before the Union razors. It's a gold dollar. It's got a very nice. It's got some wood scales on it. On the tang, right here, it says gold dollar 1996. Okay, so probably a shave club, something. But what I want you to notice is that it's shoulderless. It's shoulder. I think this came out as a blank. Somebody liked the idea. Maybe Gold Dollar made it available generically, and I think Union Razor snatched it up and started buying these blanks and putting them in their own scales and selling them in the American market. And so I think that what we have here let's see if I can get those. Yeah, when you put them side by side, they're exactly the same. And so I think what you got there this is the Gold Dollar, this is the Union Razor. And now I will say to Greg directly that because of all your honing experience, and you probably have a much greater knowledge of certain things than I do, that if you think that Union Razor that you had in your shave video, it had any decent steel to it at all, I can tell you that it was not one of the truck stop purchased styled Union Razors that can be purchased for $12 retail, brand new, in the truck stops. That the one you have is probably a vintage something, and probably a quality razor with well forged steel, etc. So anyway, I wanted to pull these out, kind of give you a show. Yes, I have in the past had things to say about the Union razors because I use them quite frequently for head shaves 2, 3, 4 years ago. Today, this entire bundle is retired. I set it on a shelf. There it sits. I pulled them out for a little show and tell, just like I just did. And that's it. I have basically, I have no regard for them. They're crap. Only because they are Chinese steel. And as Bill has shown on so many occasions, and I haven't taken these to a microscope or some kind of measuring stick or caliper I'm not a tool guy per se so much, so I don't know how to use all that kind of stuff. But what I can tell you for our razor today is that those kinds of razors have no standing when it comes to using a Philharmonica, number 13, Novo Dur, which I'm going to use here shortly. I've had a shower, I've had a haircut, and even compared to the head razor that I'm going to use later, and that's this George Woostenholm. And so those are junk. That's something you might find laying in a gutter and you pick up and kind of clean it off a little bit and practice with it, because that's all it's good for. Because the steel from China it'll hold the edge. Sure, who cares? steel, if it's honed properly and it's got suitable geometry, it'll hold an edge. All right. And so I have said in the past that the gold dollar and union razors are suitable learning tools. And that's true. Buy a dozen, they're cheap. But when compared with, and let's be honest, who knows the name of all of the vintage manufacturing companies that made quality steel, quality grinds, etc.? I don't, by no means. And we go to eBay right now and other places and look at the stuff that's for sale and have no idea about its provenance. I think I said that right. Our soap today is Zingari Man and the Merchant, amber, vanilla, and spices. And so, and the brush, I'm using this simply because I want to. This brush is also largely retired, just like the Volfix that I used 2 or 3 videos back. This is a VP Leon Hardy. This is the one that VP Leon Hardy in Germany sent me as the replacement. I bought the other one from Jared at the Superior Shave. It shedded so bad I had to send it back. He sent me another. When it's shed so bad, he said you have to go to the manufacturer. It took almost 4 to 6 months. The manufacturer did reply, and they sent me this one, which was it's not an exact duplicate, but it is a 30 millimeter. It is a premium silver tip Badger 30 millimeter. And so, but as the other two, it's very floppy. It's so very much like the Volfix in that respect. But I wanted to use it today just to remind, since I used the Volfix not long ago and was reminded how floppy it was, and that's all right. You just load it up differently. You load it up, you treat it like a paintbrush. You don't try to grind it so much. And that smells wonderful. All right. So I've taken almost a half hour to say all those things that I said as we get started, and that's all right. Put it on ×2. All right. And so my last shave was on Friday, late afternoon, about 4 o'clock. And today's Monday, so that's Friday to Saturday to Sunday to Monday, so about 3 days. And that last shave was on video at my last shave in Bennett, Colorado, near Denver. And I had stopped. My delivery was Friday morning, 0700, Vernal, Utah. I came back through US 40, Craig, Steamboat Springs, dropped south on Colorado Highway 9, which brought me out at Dillon, Colorado. And I was empty, and I made reference to some of the mechanical in the last video problems. And by the time I approached Eisenhower Tunnel on I-70, I stalled out 2 more times empty. And I think what it is that there's a sensor problem. When the temperature in the coolant reaches 200 degrees, normal operating is between 150 and 180. And when it gets hot or warm at 200 degrees, I think there is a mechanism that triggers the engine to shut off, and it just stops running. As soon as that light comes on, you've got about 1 minute to get to the shoulder before the engine kills itself. Now, this is a Novo Dur, Philharmonica number 13. It's largely just flat. Pulled that off with the spine so it wouldn't drip. And so once I got through Eisenhower Tunnel and I was on the downhill side after that for the next good little while. With minor uphill. Grades and terrain. But first, even as a truck driver, I've never had, out of Houston, I have never had a call or need to go either east or west on I-70. So that's the first time I'd been on I-70. And when I was loaded going up and was advised by my boss to turn around and go back to I-25 in Denver, go to Cheyenne, and then go out west on Interstate 80, I couldn't sit there on the side of the road all day waiting for a tow truck. When the engine would run, I just needed to get turned around. And I did, and it worked. But sometimes there are things you can do when you're empty that you can't do when you're loaded. And so that's what motivated me to go back to I-70, loaded, or empty rather, after delivery, and come down I-70. Now I made it, but it taught me some things, and I had at least an idea of what perhaps to expect. And yeah, it kind of played out the way I thought it would, and that's what's led me to believe that this is a sensor problem. And the simple answer to me is just don't go back that way. But I am concerned because it was very steep and very long grades of terrain. By the way, these Philharmonica Novo Doers number 13 have Jose Montserrat name. I'm going to pause for a second because I saw my boss's message come through with my load details, so stand by. Well, I'm back and got my instructions for tomorrow. I was off camera for an interval of about 10 minutes. As I understood, I still have some questions about what I'm supposed to do, and I'm supposed to load tomorrow. I got to go pick up the empty trailer at a washout location tomorrow. My hours don't reset until about 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight. And so at a minimum, I've got to wait until my hours are reset. That's number one. Number two, I have the additional provision that I go to this place where I've been before to load, but after 6 a.m. It's an open load time, but after 6 a.m. Okay, fine. So I go get and it's not that far. About 20 minutes, not even 10 miles. So I go get the trailer, say at 5 a.m., and it's not far from the yard. It will take a few minutes to get hooked up and get over there after 6 a.m., which is no big deal. And so it's an open load time after 6 a.m. No telling how long I'll be there to get loaded because it's a first come, first served kind of situation. And we'll see how many are there when I get there, how many other trucks are in line. And now that I kind of know how that place operates a little bit better than I have before, as soon as you get there, you go check in with security, no matter where the truck is in line, because they have 4 loading stations. And just because you have other trucks in front of you, you may be able to go past them because they're getting a different product than you at a different loading station than you. And so you can sometimes go around them. But here's the kicker that I don't understand is that tomorrow's the 1st. I was thinking tomorrow was the 2nd of April. Delivery time is the 3rd at 0700. So if tomorrow's the 1st, I can spend the better part of the day tomorrow getting loaded and getting X miles down the road. My routing will be up through Oklahoma City, Wichita, I-35 to York, Nebraska, US 81, pick up Interstate 80, proceed east toward Omaha. And I didn't look at the road number, but proceeding east from Omaha to Red Oak, Iowa. And it's approximately 900 miles. So I'll have the 2nd on Wednesday. Today's Monday, get loaded on Tuesday, drive on Wednesday, get loaded and drive. I need to probably go 400 miles. So I need to get to Guthrie, Oklahoma. And then I should be able to drive the distance on in. uh, on Wednesday, on Thursday, drive on, get close, and then delivery on Thursday. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call the urology group and set an appointment for Monday or Tuesday. All right. So I know I spent a lot of time yammering about stuff at the beginning of the video, and so I'm just going to focus and get this thing done. I'm going to go down to the truck this afternoon about 3 o'clock. And again, the reason I do that is I'm old. Now just imagine if I didn't go down to the truck this afternoon or this evening, and I had to go pick up that empty trailer and be over at load before 6 or just after 6 a.m. I would have to get up out of bed here at home, drive almost 65 miles from my house to work at 1 a.m. I don't want to get up at 1 a.m. It's going to be bad enough in my mind that I've got to get up at 4 a.m. to go get that trailer. And so there's a lot of this that monsters run the trucking industry, is my opinion. And it has been for a very long time. Now, I understand about this, notion of just-in-time delivery, and certainly that deals a lot more with groceries and dry van and dry goods, like computer parts, or Now, I understand that chemicals are an important and essential part of the economy as well, but I have never, as I say, my last 13 years at the other company, the kind of mad dashery All right. Well, I feel better. At least I've got a plan. I have a load, I have a plan. And see, I really wanted today and tomorrow off to go to the doctor. And I will tell you, having just gotten home from this crazy run to Utah, only to not even be home, but just barely 24 hours, a little over 24 hours, before I got to go back to the truck, that annoys me. But I'm used to having a full 48 hours off. And that's why I say that this 34-hour restart rule in truck driving is the closest thing we've got to real, genuine slavery. Yeah, you can say that the difference is I can quit. Or that's the way we've always done it. Go talk to the truck drivers and not the monsters. Now, let's see. First night out, Guthrie, Oklahoma. I might be able to get a shave on camera, and that will be, well, like I say, depending upon too many variables. Nothing until I get the load and get underway. That's going to be hard to quantify. That's going to be hard to say. Yeah. Now, one of my truck driving buddies was telling me yesterday that there is, with the change in administration and all of the waste, fraud, and abuse that's being looked at by Doge and Elon Musk and his group, with the authority of the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, that they may look very closely at how truck drivers, and this comes from a trucking group, truck drivers group, truck drivers have been exempt from the fair wage and labor regulations of the Department of Labor since the 1930s. And again, I say that goes back to the robber barons who were trying to turn the common man into another slave class. But let me ask this question. What would the industry look like if drivers were subject to the Fair Wage and Labor Act of the Department of Labor? How would that change the hours of service, and would that change the manner of pay that drivers are paid? And I know that there's at least, one company that I work for, they did practice what I would call a more fair wage, I guess. They gave you a certain rate per hour. And after 40 hours a week, they would pay you time and a half overtime, even on up to the maximum on the hours of service regulations, which is 70 hours per pay period per week. And they were, it was not a bad deal at all, I thought. And so the idea is to get away from trucking companies stealing your hours. And with the regulations, you can't have it both ways. You can't embrace the regulations and then ignore the regulations or eschew them as at your preference, at the company's preference. And so what drivers would do, and it only makes sense, that when they would first come to work, they would turn on their computer clock to on duty, and there it would sit. I remember you got 14 hours of on duty time every day, 14 hours, 11 of which can be used as driving, real actual driving. Okay, great. And so if I come in, I go to work at 6 a.m., 14 hours would be 8 p.m., and I would have exhausted my total hours for the day, 11 of which could have been driving. I could be sitting at a dock, and that's where companies were abusing, is that if you were sitting at a dock, anyway, there's something about that. Now, our tankers aren't quite as bad as that, because you go in, you have a specified time, you get paid from the moment you arrive to the moment you leave. On unloading or demerge, which is you get so many minutes, so many hours to get the trailer unloaded, and that's the workers, the dock workers, the chemical work, the plant workers, the operators who unload for you. You're sitting in the truck, you're a driver. I rarely, well, let me say it this way. I never load a trailer and I rarely unload a trailer. I know how. I say I know how. I know how to get it done quick, fast, and in a hurry. And if you've got other priorities than that, I don't know what they are. So my delivery's on Thursday, the 3rd. Let's see, yeah, second Wednesday, 3rd. So I'm going to get back on the weekend, and if I set my appointment for Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to have the better part of 4 or 5 days off, which does not hurt my feelings. Lovely scent on the soap. The brush is working satisfactorily. And again, just using it more as a mop. It's certainly got almost no backbone. Sound effects. Well, after my shave, I can get something to eat, and then I'll post this up on YouTube. and I'm going to take a nap before I got to go down to the yard this afternoon. I'll probably leave the house at around 3 o'clock, 1500. Now I'm going to take the same soap with me on the road, not the brush. That is not a suitable brush for the road. I want something a little stronger, which I'm taking one of the small Zenith boar bristle brushes, and probably that golden nib, what I call my workhorse. Actually it's the handle from the second replacement. When VP Leon Hardy sent me this brush, they did not require me to send back the old brush that I'd gotten from the second brush that I'd gotten from Jared at the Superior Shave. So I kept that handle, I bored it out, the old bristles that is, and bought a new knot, and that brush has that's the brush I call my workhorse, because it was almost like a orphan stepchild. I just beat the heck out of it, and it stood up. It took everything I gave it, rinsing it out roughly, scrubbing it roughly, and the golden nib 30 millimeter premium silver tip badger from the golden nib held great, still does. So that's why I call it my workhorse. Now, this place I'm going to in Red Oak, Iowa, is approximately 2 hours from Omaha. And I don't know where I'm going to stay the second night out, that Wednesday night, because I've got to deliver 0700 on Thursday morning on the 3rd. And that's all right. I'll find a place to park somewhere along the way, but that first night out, Guthrie, Oklahoma, maybe a little further, Tonkawa, maybe a little further. We'll see what time I get loaded and get out of there, get rolling, because the first come, first serve, there could be a line of trucks waiting to get loaded. I could get stalled. I could get stalled some number of hours trying to get loaded. If I get behind 3 trucks and it takes an hour and a half to 2 hours, so that's 6 hours, so that's noon before I get out of there. And I'm gonna be so tired, because no, please don't let it be like that. Okay. And that is good enough for the face shave. I feel good. Well, the face feels good. All right. Switching razors to the George Wostenholm for the head shave. And for my bath soap this morning, you might be interested in knowing that I used some of that Duke bourbon, which was very nice. They also have that Bush beer smelling scented soap. And I've got a couple of extra in reserve of both of those. And I have noticed in the truck stops a couple of things, that they are adding different scented, different offerings of the Duke soap. And they're also removing the Union straight razor that I was talking about earlier. They're removing those from there. I'm seeing fewer and fewer of the Love's truck stops carrying any quantity of those. So I think they're trying to reduce the inventory. I don't think they sold that well. Who's going to buy them? Except as a novelty. Some driver might carry it in his pocket as a throat cutter. And they are far from shave ready, as you and I would understand shave ready. And I guarantee you there's probably not one out of 10,000 drivers that know how to care for and hone and sharpen a straight razor. And so they would buy those as a curiosity in the truck stops, put them in their pocket as a defensive weapon, and maybe sharpen them somehow or another, like they would a pocket knife. But as far as getting them shave ready with stone honing, like you and I would understand that to be, one in 10,000. And let me go a step further, maybe not even one in 100,000 would understand any of that I just said about honing and caring for a traditional straight razor. And so it begs, and they were not shave ready coming out of the package. I can only see, can you imagine? Truck drivers buying those in the truck stop, going into the shower rooms with those, opening the package. And of course, they're not thinking. They don't know anything about those kinds of razors. And so they go to the shower room, they open the package, they lather their face with their traditional foam or gel shaving cream. Shaving lather. And the thing pulls and tugs, and they're thinking to themselves, what the heck is this? And so they fold it up, pull out their cartridge razor, finish their shave, throw the straight razor into their shave kit, and probably don't think another thing about it for the next, until they get home, take it out of their shave kit and throw it in the drawer somewhere. Now, Love's has made a sale, but it's not a repeat sale. Or somebody, they're going to look at those products and say, boy, that's a gimmick. I don't know. Okay. I think that'll do for the head shave for now. We'll see where we're at in a day or two, or 4 or 5, who knows when. And so if I'm coming home, if I deliver on Thursday and I'm coming home, I should be home on Saturday. And I'll get my appointment set for Tuesday. Or earliest opportunity. All right, we're going to pull a new sink of hot water for cleanup purposes here in a minute. And I'm doing this trim on the back of my neck largely dry. I mean, you saw me put the rag up there and the towel and give it a little bit of moisture, but not enough to probably do any real significant. Letting it get hot there. All right, that's it for the head shave and the face shave. I'm going to pull out some, oh, that feels good. I'm going to pull out some alum, Osma alum block here. All right, first of all, do just a little wipe off here on the Woestenhome, or as some people, Woostie, the Woostie. Well, it feels nice and smooth. And I know some people don't, they'll make comment about how long I take, and I just don't care. I just don't care. It satisfies me. I go as fast as I dare. Now, if I was off camera and I'm like at the truck stop last Friday evening, oh, by the way, I got done with that shave while they were doing the oil change and tire repair. And I got back to the truck at about 5 o'clock, 1700, and maybe a little bit later, because I started the shave at 4 something, so it may have been 6:30, almost 7. Because what I remember for sure is I made the decision to leave that truck stop, go to another. I thought I'd go the hour to Lyman, Colorado, to the TA truck stop. And I got there, and it was still just a little bit daylight. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go on to the Luz truck stop at Burlington, Colorado, which is out on the Kansas-Colorado line, I-70. And I did, and I got in there about 9 o'clock, 9:30. And from there, I got to Denton, night before last, Denton, Texas, TA truck stop. Had to pay for parking. The most I've ever paid for truck parking, reserved truck park, $28. And I can't imagine doing that every day. Although my company would allow it because they said they pay for parking. All right, what's next? Lucky Tiger. But I just thought that was outrageous at Denton, Texas, at the TA. And the best that the lady said, could say, was that, well, I understand in California they're paying $40 a night. And I said, well, this ain't California. Now, I don't know if what she says is true or not, but I'll tell you it's outrageous. But it's only symptomatic of, as I have said for a long, long time, and others, not just me, but the industry itself. You can find articles written and such, that there's a paucity of truck parking. It's a disgrace. We say we love our truckers and we treat them the way we do, and they can't even find a place to park the rig out on the road at night. All right, Clubman Reserve, Pinard Reserve, Whiskey Woods aftershave. There we go, right there, Whiskey Woods. A little bit of a sting burn, not much, a little bit, but just enough to know that you shaved. All right. And so we use the Philharmonica Novo Dur, and I've got 4 Phillies, 2 Novo Durs. This is the best quality, best conditioned of the 2. I do put these in one of the nicer leather roll-ups, and I count them among the new production. And I know they're not, but I've got a mint vintage Bengal in that same collection. I've got a Simon, a Carl Monkhouse or whatever it is, beautiful little 5/8. But again, not perfect, but very nice. And then I got the 2 Novo Durs, of which this is the best conditioned. I've got a Sub-Zero, and then the very best conditioned of the 4 is an Inox. And that'll be coming before very long. I'm not taking my new conditioned razors anymore. I have this morbid fear of losing everything. Having an accident, the kind of accident that rips the cab apart and I'm dead, the gears scattered all over the road, and I've got maybe $2,000. If I take a 7-day roll up with new conditioned razors, each of them costing anywhere from $200 to $500 each, all of a sudden, along with the strops and the et cetera, the accessories that are in my little travel bag, all of a sudden I've got $2,000 scattered on the road that my wife will never be able to recover. And I don't want that. And I've gotten to a point in my head where I just may very well take those union razors and gold dollar razors and shave with them on the road, but who cares if they get scattered all over the road, and take some very inexpensive brushes like those Zenith boar bristles at $45 a pop. Who cares if they get lost and scattered on the road? And my good stuff is here, and I'm deceased, and my wife can sell all that stuff. And anyway, that's morbid, I know, but that's the way my mind runs sometimes, is worst case scenario stuff. And you got to take that stuff into account. Anyway, enough of all that. So I'm done. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a long video. I'll see you down the road.